Hello, welcome to the online lecture series Essentials of MATLAB. I am Suraj Kamya. This is second part of the lecture 1. So these are the contents to this lecture, MATLAB Environment. In this we will see the components of the MATLAB. Then we will write our first program in the MATLAB, that is Hello World. Then there are other contents like using MATLAB as calculator, variables naming and operations, vector manipulations, and accessing help. So this is the MATLAB's environment. We are using MATLAB 2013B. This is the MATLAB environment. So this is command window. We are having a number of windows here. So let's analyze them one by one. So this one is command window, and basically this is the scripting shell of the MATLAB, and all the results are displayed in this window only except the graphics. So next one is the current folder. Basically current folder, it contains all the files, code, etc. for the current directory. Next one is workspace. Actually workspace contains all the variables present in the memory defined by the users. Next is command history. As its names indicate, it contains the history of the commands entered in the command window. So you can execute these commands from command history. You can just directly double click on any command to execute, or you can copy paste the command. This is status of work state. Actually, when some processing is going on in the background, then if it is busy, it will show here status busy, otherwise it is ready when there is no processing work in behind. And next one is this ribbon. Actually this ribbon is a conventional toolbar options, and the last window is details. In this details shows details of any selected file from the current folder if there is any details available. So this is basically all about the MATLAB environment. Okay, do you know in any kind of language, when you start learning, the first program we used to create is Hello World. You know why the Hello World is the first program? Okay, basically there is a two reason behind. One is a technical reason and one is a psychological reason behind. So technical reason says that Hello World program is very much simple in point of view of syntax or in point of view of writing. And with the simplicity, when you write this program, you come to know whether your installed language or installed compiler is working or not. And the philosophical reason, as according to the Simon Cogens, that when we write first program as a hello world, then we are saying hello to the virtual programming code so that he can help us to learn the programming. So any of the reason you can have with yourself, whichever you like. So let's write our first program, hello world. So I will be comparing the programs or some of the instructions with the C language. I'm not criticizing the C because MATLAB is itself written in C, so it's impossible to criticize C. I'm only comparing to show you the user-friendly feature of the MATLAB. So if you have to write the first program, that is the hello world, in the C, what you will do? You will be writing like include standard input output, include console input output, and then void main. Then you will be writing a program in the basis. Then you will save that program, compile the program, then debug. Then you will save that program again. Then you will compile it and run it, and the result will be shown on the another window. But in the MATLAB, this process is very much simpler. So if you have to write the hello world program, you can just simply write single quotes hello world and just press enter. That's it. This is the simplicity and beauty of the MATLAB, that how simple you can program your things. So this is the first program, that is a hello world. So we have our hello to the programming goal, and we also come to know that yes, our software is working, our compiler is working. So there are some important points in MATLAB that you have to keep it in your mind, or you can note down that points. The first point is, you can say MATLAB is basically a case sensitive language. It is a case sensitive language, and there is only one data type in MATLAB, and that is matrix. Whatever you will be assigning to a variable or whatever you will be writing in the command window, that will be in the form of matrix. That we will see in the coming lecture. And the third and main important point is, you need not to declare any variable before using. So you can say no declarations before using any kind of variable. So let's see all of these points one by one. Actually, we are saying that MATLAB is having only one data type, that is matrix. It doesn't mean that it don't have any kind of classes of data. In MATLAB, there is a classes of data like integer, uint, 8, float. Actually, float is not a class, like character or string you can say. So we will be studying the classes of data in the second chapter. So first let's analyze these 3 points. So there are some important commands. Just write down that command or keep it in mind the command. First command is CLC. Okay, this command is used to clear the command window. So if there is anything written in the command window, this, if you are writing CLC, it will clear your command. Okay, there's one more important thing. When you will press the upper directional key in your keyboard, it will repeat the previous commands. So that is also a very user friendly option. So clear is the command to clear all the variables from the memory, or we can say from workspace. In the workspace currently we are having only one variable, that is the answer. So when you will be writing clear and press enter, this workspace will be clear. Next command is pwd, that is the parent work directory. Whenever you will be writing the pwd and press enter, it will show you the current path, the current working directory, where are you working. So this is my current working directory where I am working. So in this way you can have the current working directory, or you can change the working directory as per your need. From this point here you can choose any of the working directory, click your particular drive and further folders, so you can choose any working directory. Okay, next command is whos, whos. So whenever you enter this command, so whatever the variables are present in the workspace, it will show you all the details of that variables. So let's press it. Whos. You might be wondering that we have discussed a number of keywords so far, but till now we haven't tried any kind of definition for the keywords. All the definition, all the examples, and all the things about particular keyword is available in the help, that I will tell you in the last portion of this lecture. So let's just continue with the pace. So in the end I will tell you how to access the help. So let's just clear the screen. Okay, so we will be using MATLAB as calculator. Okay, so let's see MATLAB as a calculator. So you can do any kind of operations which you perform in your calculator, like 2 plus, like 2 plus 2 is 4, and you can write 5 by 8, 0.62. Yes, actually we have used integer here, and the result is floating point. So in MATLAB basically there is a no difference between integer and float, so you need not to worry about that thing. So you can just simply write a number of computations which you want to perform, and it will give you the particular answer. So similarly you can perform the square of the particular variable. To square the particular variable you have to use exponent sign. Yes, the exponent sign, this one. So it will give you the exponent of this thing. And for square root, although there is a function sqrt of 4, but you can also use like 4 raised to power, and say 1 by 2, 1 by 2. So it will also give you the square root. In this kind you can have nth root for the any number. Actually nth root is also a keyword in the MATLAB, but still you can use the nth root writing like this, writing expressions like this. So in this way you can compute a lots of things like sine of 90. You want to compute sine of 90. Actually this angle we have provided is in radian, so that's why it is providing 0.89. So let's inspect cos 90, because usually cos 90 is 0, but when you enter cos 90 in MATLAB, so it will give you some minus 0.4481. So it's not 0, because 90 you have provided here is in form of radians. Okay, so similarly you can find out the exponential, you can find out the log of any value. So in this way you can compute lots of things. Okay, so let's move towards the variable. So in MATLAB, when you were doing some calculations and when you are not assigning any value to any variable, then by default it is stored in the answer variable. So again and again when you are using the number of computation, it is overwritten again and again. So it is suggested that you should not use answer as variable in your computation, because this value is keep updating. We have no idea when this value will change, so it can give you some error. So don't use answer as the variable or any point of calculation. So this is just a default variable. Okay, so let's see how to declare a variable. The key rule in defining the variable is that you have to start your variable with the alphabetical character like this. After that you can use the keyword, you can say the underscore, any special variable or any value. You can use anything in defining the variable, but it must start with the alphabetical character. So if you will be defining the variable like this, it will give you an error. Yes, so this is the error, that an expected MATLAB expression. Actually MATLAB's error is very handy to read, and you can easily find out where the error is, like it's locating that here you are having some error. So we cannot define any variable which does not start with the alphabetical character. Okay, so let's analyze the 3 points we have discussed earlier. Like MATLAB is a case sensitive language. So when we are writing x is equal to 5. Okay, so when you are writing x is equal to 5, you can put a semicolon, or you, you can omit the semicolon. So what is the difference when you put a semicolon or when you are not using a semicolon? Actually, when you are not using a semicolon, it will not give you any kind of error. Your program will run very smoothly. The only difference is semicolon is used to suppress the output at the command window. Like we have written earlier, if you are writing x is equal to 5 and you are using semicolon, so it will not show you any kind of results. And when you are writing similarly x is equal to 5, so it will show you the results. Now 5 is stored in the small x. So let's call capital X so that we can verify that MATLAB is a case sensitive language. So it should give an error. Okay, so it's giving you an error, undefined function or variable, because we have defined x in small, not in capital. And it's also showing you the suggestion that did you mean x. So if you're writing this, there is the answer. Okay, so next point was that in MATLAB there is a no need to declare any kind of variable. So let's see that thing. So we have used x, but we haven't declared it yet. So you can use it, or when you are assigning another value to x, so it will be overwritten. Now the value of x is overwritten and all the variables records are showing in this workspace. So let's assign some floating point number to this value. So sorry, this is a floating point number. So actually there is no difference between the floating point and integer point. You can also assign the characters to the particular variable without declaring it. Like in this case x is a, so now you are having x as a, or you can also define your name in the x also. So you can use the variables at your own ease. So there's no particular rules to declare variables. So let's move to the next one that we have discussed earlier, that in MATLAB whatever you enter is treated as matrix. So we are assigning 5 to x. Now x is having 5, so If it is a matrix, can you tell me the dimension of this matrix? Number of rows and number of columns. This will be 1 cross 1. So how you will come to know the dimension of this variable? You will be writing whose, that is already discussed, whose x. When you will be writing whose x, it will show you all the details about this variable. So see this thing, size is 1 cross 1. It doesn't mean the memory size, it means the dimension. 1 cross 1, 1 row, 1 element. Okay, so these are some other attributes also. So we will see the bytes class and attributes in the second chapter, that what they indicate. So for right now, just analyze the dimension only. Okay, so let's write something else. Now we have write x is equal to 5.5004. So can you guess the dimension of this thing? As I have already told you that there is no difference between integer and float in MATLAB. So this is also a simple number for MATLAB. So the dimension of this thing will also be 1 cross 1. Yes, okay, 1 cross 1. So let's assign some alphabetical character. So let's assign an alphabetical character to this variable. So now can you guess the dimension? Again the dimension is 1 cross 1 because there is only one character. So let's assign some string in this thing or some name. So now can you guess the dimension? Now the dimension will be 1 cross 4 because there are 4 characters you have assigned to this particular variable. So let's say this thing was x. So it will give you 1 cross 4. So if you are having some doubt in your mind, so if you are writing the name particularly, so now what will be the dimension of this thing? We are having 5 characters in this name and 5 characters in this name, and there is also a one space, so total will be 11. So let's say 1 cross 11 means 1 row and 11 columns. So this is how MATLAB interpret everything as a matrix. Okay, so this was all about the basic elementary operation and variable assigning in the MATLAB. So let's start something. Okay, so let's start with vector. I will be using the vector term again and again, and in the MATLAB literature, all over the books and all over the document helps, the vector, this word, this keyword will be repeated again and again. So keep clear the definition of the vector in your mind, and in MATLAB we say vector is any matrix which is having only one row or one column. So I am repeating again that vector is a matrix which is having only one row, either one column. So let's see how to define a vector. So right now we will be defining a row vector. We are having a variable x, again my favorite variable, and to define a vector you have to use a square bracket. And now we are defining a row vector. So let's, first element is 2. Okay, now tell me, in this row vector the next element will goes to the next column or next row. So to differentiate the column you can either use the space or comma, the same thing. And when you will press enter it will show you the results because you haven't used the semicolon here. So now can you tell me the dimension of this thing? Yes, dimension of this thing will be 1 cross 3, whose x. Dimension is 1 cross 3. Okay, suppose if we have to define a vector containing the values from 1 to 10 or 1 to 100. So let's suppose that you will not be writing all the variables one by one. So there is a specific method to define that thing, and that is the colon operator. So we will be writing like this: 1 colon 10. Okay, now when we are using the colon operator, it means that starting point is 1, ending point is 10. You have to go from 1 to 10, and the step size between them is 1. By default the step size is plus 1, so it will be going like this: 1 2 3 4. So let's say this thing. So this will be your vector. Okay, suppose now you want a row vector but with all the odd numbers or all the even numbers. So let's see the odd numbers. So if we want all the odd numbers from 1 to 10, then we have to define the step size, because when we are using only odd numbers 1, 3, 5, so there is a step size of 2. Step size of 2. So we have to define the step size. So to define the step size on your own, you have to use double colons. And in the double colons in between, you will be writing the step size. So I'm writing 2. So you can use, or you can write any the step size, any of the step size like 0.2, 0.3, or any integer value. So in this case, you will be having only the odd numbers. This is a vector containing all the odd numbers from 1 to 10. So you can define the step size as per your need. So this was how we can define the row vector. So let's see how we can define the column vector. Okay, now we have to define the column vector. So first element, let's suppose it's 3. So in the column vector, next element will be going into the next row. So to differentiate the row, you have to use semicolon. 3, and suppose next element 5, next element will be 7. Okay, so when we will be entering, it's showing x is 3, 5, 7. Okay, you are not required to use this space. You can also like write like this 3, 5, 6. Okay, so this is the column vector. Okay, so now there is a question for you, that you have to define a column vector which is containing all the odd numbers from 1 to 10. Actually, this is a question of your workbook also. So we will discuss that question in that particular workbook. So let's move to the operations of the vector. Now suppose we are having x, 1, 2, and 3. We are having 3 values in the x vector. This is the row vector. Let's have one more row vector. This is suppose 3, 1, and 2. So now we are having 2 row vector. Okay, let's wait. Let's remove one element. Okay, now we are having the 2 row vectors. Let's analyze the dimension of the both of the vectors. So x is having dimension 1 cross 3 and y is having dimension 1 cross 2. So can you tell me what will be the answer for this thing, x plus y? Actually, this will give you an error because the third element is not defined. So it will give you an error. So matrix dimension must agree. So when you are doing some operations with the vector like plus, minus, or add, so these dimensions must agree. Like if you want to define y again, 3, 1, 5. Now let's see the dimensions. These are the dimensions, and let's add this value, so x plus y. Now it's giving the result. Okay, so this was basic elementary operation. So let's see some another operation. If you want to multiply two vector, like you're having x this, y, and x multiply y. Now can you tell me the answer? Actually, this expression will also give you an error. Why? Because matrix inner dimension must match. According to the matrix algebra, if we analyze x and y, so we can see that x is having a dimension 1 cross 3, y is having a dimension of 1 cross 3 also. So when we will be multiplying these two things, the dimensions will be like this. So now these, so now the inner dimensions doesn't match. So it will give you an error. So these inner dimensions must match. So we can write like if we are having x and y. Okay, let's see now who's x and y. Now x is 1 cross 3 and y is 3 cross 1. 1 cross 3 and 3 cross 1. Now the inner dimensions are matching. So you can multiply these things. So let's multiply x star y. Let's, this is the answer. Actually answer will be the 1 cross 1 dimension. Okay, so matrix algebra rule will follow in this thing. Okay, let's see one more thing. We are having x as a 1 cross 3 vector, and I want to square the particular vector. So I will be writing like this, x square 2. So can you tell me the answer, or it will give you an error? Actually, it will give you an error because x square means x multiply by x. Now x is having dimension of 1 cross 3, and this x is also having the dimension of 1 cross 3. So they cannot be multiplied. So how you will do the square of the particular matrix? So to do the square of the particular matrix, you will be using dot operator. Dot operator. So dot operator is used for element by element operation. So the square operation we have used here will be operated as element by element. So now it will give you the square. In the similar manner, you can also multiply x and y if we are having y like this, and if you're multiplying x dot multiply y. Now the dimensions are not matching, inner dimensions are not matching, but still they will multiply the element by element 1 with 2 because we have used the dot operator. Let's see this thing. Now the result is 1 into 2 2, 3 into 2 6, and 3 into 1 3. Okay. So this was all about the vectors and the vectors operations. Actually in MATLAB basically we are having a lots of constants also. Like if you are writing pi, it will give you the answer of the pi. If you're writing I, that is the iota, that is the complex number, it will give you the value of the complex number. So this was all about the lecture 1. So let's move to the help, how to access the help. So let's see how to use help. Just click on the help icon here. Suppose you don't know the keyword CLC, so just write CLC here, press enter. So it will show you a number of commands. So this is the help for the CLC which we are looking for. Just click on the CLC. It will show you the definition, syntax, description, and all the examples regarding the CLC. Okay, so note this, we are having a C also functions. So in this we are having a number of similar functions here, like clear. Clear is used to clear the workspace variable. Just click on the clear and it will show you all the details about the clear. Okay, so actually in MATLAB we are having a number of functions, we can say a plenty of functions. You cannot remember every function, or you cannot even remember the syntax of the particular function. So every time you have to refer to the help. So the question is, suppose you don't know the particular function and you want to find that function. So the thing is, in the MATLAB and in the general life, the functions naming are the same. Suppose you want to find out the function for the square root. So just write square root. So let's see the function. So now it's showing a lots of results. So we are having function here. Okay, square root. So function of square root is sqrt. So in the similar manner, you can find out the different functions, and these are the related functions, the nth root and square root m. And you can also analyze all the functions from the contents, like we are having with the MATLAB basics contents, and just go to the functions. Yes. Now we are having all the functions, all the basic functions available. So there are a number of functions. So just click on anyone to get the details. Okay, so this was all about this chapter.